Good afternoon. How are you feeling?
I'm feeling good. Thank you for asking.
All right. So, are you in good mood so that we can start your IELTS speaking test?
I most definitely am. Let's get started.
All right, great. So, for inquiry purposes, I would like to see your ID card as a proof.
Yeah, here you go. Here you go.
All right. So, Mr. Abid, this test is conducted at GSL Pakistan. I'll be your examiner. My examiner number 74447, and your candidate number is 37374. This test is going to be for next 11 to 14 minutes. It is comprised upon 3 different sections. In part 1, I would like to have 4 to 5 phrase answers. In part 2, I'll give you a cue card. You'll think or write on that for a minute, and you will speak on that for next 2 minutes.
Okay.
And based upon part 2, I will ask some questions in part 3, and that would be more discussion based.
Okay.
Shall I start?
Yeah, we can.
Okay. So do you live in a house or a flat?
I'm currently residing in a house. It's basically a 2-story house, and we have rented it in like the entire 2 portions are rented by us guys. And it's a big house actually, and we find it easy to work out there. I also have a little gym there as well, and we have these bedrooms, 4 bedrooms.
I got my point. Thank you. So what seasons do you have in your country?
We have 4 seasons here, I believe, and the most enjoyable one would be spring, where you can actually smell vegetation growing around. And then when it comes to autumn, the city that I'm residing in currently, it's Islamabad. The streets are literally full of fallen leaves, and it gives you a really good vibe and makes it enjoyable to travel around.
So how popular is cycling in your hometown?
I haven't seen many people who cycle around, but yeah, there are lanes on the road in some specific sectors of the city which are meant for bicycles. So I guess it is somewhat popular. Yeah.
Okay, so do you ever take selfies?
I definitely do. I used to take lots of selfies like 6 months back, because I used to have an Instagram account, and there you're supposed to show off your looks maybe. So I was into that sort of stuff, but not anymore, because I've become more of a practical person now.
Okay, so let me direct myself with transportation now. I'll ask 2 to 3 more questions on that. So what are the advantages of a bicycle compared to a car?
I think one would be that you can catch some fresh air whenever you are commuting to or from wherever you want to go. And the second would be you get to do your cardiovascular exercise right as you travel. The third one would be you can get to look at lots of different people, and you can maybe meet new people who are cyclists, or you can get into the cycling community also.
Okay, so how often do you ride a bicycle?
I don't at all, because I don't have one at home. I was planning on buying an electrical bicycle, but it was out of my budget, and I couldn't get it on time.
Okay, Mr. Abid, now it's time to move to part 2.
Perfect.
I'm giving you a card that says describe a train journey you have taken.
Okay.
You have a minute to think about it. You may make your notes if you want to, and then you will have to speak on that for the next 2 minutes. Your timer has just been started. The talk time, you got 2 minutes to speak on that. Now please start speaking.
Perfect. Let's spill the tea with my description of a recent journey that I took by train. Basically, it was 5 years ago when I was studying for my ACCA exams, and we used to live there in a hostel in Islamabad. So our plan was to go enjoy our summer vacations back at home, and my home is basically the hometown. But it was located around 600 kilometers from Islamabad. It's a very small city full of welcoming people and lots of good food, called Ahmedpur East. That's what the city's name is. So we went by train, and it took us around 24 hours of traveling just to reach our destination, which basically could have been covered by bus in like 12 hours or so. So it was a tiring journey, but there are some good things that I noticed on the way. It was like the train traversed through different mountainous ranges, which was definitely good to look at. And then talking about who I went on this journey with, it was basically my brother and a friend of his. We were basically like good buddies, and we decided to take this journey, which was something different from how we used to previously commute back to our home. And then considering how
Alright, I got my point. Thank you very much. Moving on towards part 3 now. Would you mind giving my card back?
Sure, there you go.
Thank you. So, how safe is travel in your country?
Generally speaking, it's safe enough for women to travel also. Like there are lots of women, working women, let's say, or people who are living in different cities and their families are in other cities. They can travel back and to and from their cities really relatively easily, and they don't face any problems like harassment or things that you would expect in a third world country.
Okay, fine. So which method of transport do you consider the safest?
I think all modes of transport except airplanes, maybe because there is always a risk of crash landing. Especially there have been a few incidents in the past where people who were really popular as celebrities also, even they were not safe enough, and their planes crash landed and they immediately passed away. So that's one risk that you always have with air travel. Apart from that, I think bus travel or moving to another city via your own personal conveyance like a car or so would be considered safer.
Okay, so what environmental problems are there related to the car industry?
I think there aren't any, but talking about environmental problems associated with this industry, I'd say there's lots of backlash regarding petrol use, excessive fuel use that some cars are they have associated with them. Also, the carbon emissions and the resulting carbon footprint of humans resulted with the use of cars more and more is considering environmentalists to come and to go against this industry. As a direct consequence of which electric cars have been developed, which I think are definitely disrupting the petrol car industry as well. So there are a few things here and there in multiple angles to look at this topic, and I would say although no industry would be disrupted entirely, but there are definitely going to be some damages sustained by the petrol car industry, especially when the electric cars are coming into the market.
All right, thank you very much. This is the end of your spoken test.
Thank you.
Now I would like to give my feedback. Before I give my feedback, I would like to know whether you liked your speaking yourself or not.
I rarely do, especially when I talk to somebody in person.
Okay.
Also, I feel there is an impending pressure that you feel whenever you are taking it in exam conditions. So I can't fight that, and I would say I was not totally happy. I did what I could.
But to me, I guess it went well. There are a few times when I cannot note much, and this time is a time when I didn't note much. By that I mean I could not point out so many mistakes, but there are a few.
Okay.
Overall, it was very good. Why? Because you understood all the questions. Okay. You tried answering most of them, and all of them rather.
Okay.
And the good thing about your talk is that you rephrase the keyword instantly yourself. Maybe you have learned it or you just do it. On the other side of it, in part one I couldn't find anything which is supposed to be taken care of. It went well. Initially you were speaking a little more on length, which was not required. Then you corrected yourself, or rather I corrected yourself somehow. Okay. I went through different question types because now this is the pattern British Council or IDP is going through. They would ask you different questions, not from the same queue as they were doing in the past. Okay. In part two, I found you well on point, especially the lexical resource you have and the fluency you associate with the semantic field which is required. I mean to say, one word and associated words you speak so spontaneously, which is your plus. In part three, question number one, that was a general one, that how safe is it to travel. So you just directed your words towards the societal problems, the feministic approach and such thing, which was not a good idea. It was a general question. So dealing with that later on, you could have given the part which you were giving. Okay, about the females, third world country, blah blah, that thing. And the other questions went well. To me, if you will speak like this, you would be ranging between band 7.5 to 8.
Okay, perfect.
It went well for you. Anything you want to say?
Any way you think I can improve on what I'm...
Actually, it is just that you keep telling yourself that I have that anxiety of facing people or facing examiners. It's a common thing. Just ignore it and keep coming to the drill where we do such things. Then it would be even more better than this. All right. That's all for the day. Thank you very much for your time. God bless you. Thank you.